Hello, pool players, and welcome back to Bar Guy Billiards. Brian here, your sole proprietor of Bar Guy Billiards. A few days ago, I posted a video on how to shoot this shot, where you have your object ball, the 8 ball in this case, we're playing 9 ball, frozen on the rail, roughly about a diamond or so from the corner pocket. Cue ball down here, somewhere, anywhere here, and how to shoot this shot to get position on the 9 ball. Let's just shoot it real quick. But this is not the premise of the video, but we'll get to that in a minute. If you haven't seen that video, you might want to watch it because this is a shot that comes up fairly often and you want to know how to shoot it so you can end up with position like this on the 9 ball. But during the course of that video, when I was demonstrating shooting that shot with different angles on the cue ball, at one point, the cue ball ended up like this with the 9 ball frozen on the rail, almost straight in, and I cut that 9 ball in the corner. And we'll take a look at that, the actual shot here in a second. But in the comment section, a couple of guys asked me, how did I make that shot? Where did I aim? And so forth. And I've never really made a comprehensive video on this type of shot, though I've mentioned it in passing in the past. So let's take a look at the actual shot that was made in the original video, and then we'll come back and we'll discuss how to make that shot, how to aim, what English to use, so on and so forth, for future reference, because it's a shot that you definitely want to know how to make, because there's going to be times when you leave yourself or your opponent leaves yourself, a shot like this where the ball is frozen on the rail and he thinks he has you flummoxed. But if you know how to shoot that shot, you're going to win that game. So let's take a look at the original shot, and then we'll come back and discuss it much further with some slow motion videos of making this type of shot. Okay, you just saw this shot in the original video that I posted a few days ago. I set it up here real quick on the other end of the table. So let me shoot it real quick, and then we're going to go into how to make this shot. Okay, so to make this shot, you need to use a ton of right-hand English or left-hand English, depending. In this case, since I'm cutting the object ball to the right into that corner pocket, I'm going to use a lot of right-hand English. Just about like that, to the point where you're almost going to scratch, but not quite. And the aim point when you're shooting that shot is as close to the object ball hitting the rail first as you possibly can without hitting the object ball. Now, the object ball has to be frozen to the rail, or otherwise the shot won't go, because when you shoot the shot, you put all that spin on the ball, and when the cue ball hits the rail, it's going to kick this way, hit the object ball, and the object ball will roll into the pocket. And you can make the shot, and so your aim point is right next to the object ball, hitting the rail first as close to the object ball as you can without hitting the object ball. And the object ball must be frozen to the rail. If it's not, if it's slightly off the rail, what happens is it'll kick the 9-ball away from the corner pocket. Now you can get away with the object ball not frozen to the rail if the 9-ball is close to the corner pocket, because it'll kick out, but it'll still go. Now, you can make this shot from anywhere, pretty much anywhere on the table. But now that I've in the interest of time, I've shot these shots already, and I'm going to show you the shot in slow motion to give you a really good visual representation of how the shot goes in. And you'll see I put a cue ball in the video with the tip point where you need to hit the cue ball, and the aim point and where the cue ball needs to hit the rail just next to the object ball to kick it in the rail. And I did 2 of these shots in slow motion. One, the 9-ball was right about there, and I was down at this end of the table. And another more extreme shot, the 9-ball was right about here, and I shot it from this end of the table and made the shot. And now, when this type of shot where you're cutting it a long ways and you're at the other end of the table, and then this is a 9-foot table, so this is about an 8.5-foot shot. And just to be transparent, it took me about 2 or 3 tries to make it. But I'm very good at this shot. I practiced it a lot. One of my pool mentors from back in the 70s taught me how to shoot that shot. And boy, it's really come in handy over the years. So you definitely want to know how to make this shot. Like I mentioned earlier, you're jammed on the rail. Your opponent thinks he's got you stuck. There's no way you can make that shot. You can't bank it. You can't do anything. You may try some kind of silly bank. You know, it's just something that's not going to work. So once you practice this shot and how I explain how to make it, once you have it down, it's not that difficult of a shot. Now, the way to aim the shot is, down at the other end of the table, because I'm putting such extreme English on the cue ball, there's going to be a fair amount of squirt, or deflection. So on a long shot like this, I'm aiming to hit the object ball or the 9-ball full on. But because of the deflection, it's going to hit just next to the 9-ball and cut it in. Now the closer you get, you're going to change your aim point to compensate for the deflection a little bit less. So here I might shoot maybe aim at a half ball on the 9-ball. And you can make this shot. From anywhere. Let me just try it real quick from over here. So it really comes in handy whether you're trying to cut it in the corner pocket from the other end of the table, or you're frozen on this rail and you're over here and you really don't, and there's such an angle that you really can't bank it, or sometimes you might be able to bank that shot, but you have some in this corner, but you have some blockers in the way. So I hope you're following all that. So let's take a look at these shots in slow motion. One where the 9-ball is right about here, and a more extreme shot where the 9-ball is close to the second diamond. Okay, pool players, so you've seen this shot in slow motion, which really gives you a good idea. It really shows nicely the cue ball hitting the rail first before it hits the 9-ball and cuts it in the rail. You saw this shot from that end of the table, and a much more extreme version of that shot from this end of the table. Not quite 100% straight in, but it was fairly straight in, maybe a couple of balls over. But the reason I show you those videos in slow motion is it's not an impossible shot. And when you know how to make it, it becomes a fairly easy shot. Now, obviously, a table length shot like that's going to be more difficult than a shot that I shot a minute ago off that rail into the pocket. But it's the same premise, no matter the length of the shot. You just have to compensate for the deflection on the cue ball using such extreme English, either left hand English or right hand English. Which brings up a point. If you're shooting the object ball to the right, you're going to use extreme right hand English. If you're cutting the ball to the left, you'll use extreme left hand English. As far as you can on the left-hand side of the right-hand side of the cue ball without scratching on the horizontal axis of the cue ball. So practice this shot, pool players. It's going to look pretty impressive to your competitors who don't know how to shoot that shot, and it's going to win you a lot of games and get you out of a lot of jams. Although I will mention, you can't feather this shot. You have to stroke it because you got to have the spin on the cue ball lasting long enough where it hits the rail to make the ball. If there's a drawback to this shot, if you have to shoot this shot on, say, for example, the 6-ball, and you're trying to run out a 9-ball rack, because you can't nurse this shot, you kind of turn the cue ball loose. Now, if I'm shooting this end of the table and I'm cutting the 9-ball into that pocket, the cue ball is going to come down here. So you kind of get a general idea of where the cue ball is going to go. But basically, you're turning the cue ball loose because this is a shot that you can't nurse. You have to stroke it a bit. So practice this shot, pool players. It's going to get you out of a lot of jams, win you a lot of games. And I hope this helps you in the future. And as always, thank you for visiting Bar Guy Billiards, and we'll see you at the table next time.